Hello Flosstube, welcome to Snickerdoodle Stitch. My name is Kathleen and this is a channel about cross stitch. If it's your first time here, welcome, and if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back to visit me again. So today will be Friday, August 9th when I film this, and I will be on my way to Portland, Oregon for the week. So heading out there to go to Acorns and Stitches midweek. I'm meeting up with some other stitchers there. I'm really excited. Candy, the 614 stitcher, Shelia and Deb from Sunshine Stitchers, and about 6 other stitchers are meeting up. I don't know if everybody's going to Acorns and Threads. The real trip is a cruise out of Seattle to Alaska, and that's what I know. All of the stitchers are going on that. But there's a group of us that are meeting at Acorns and Threads. We're going to spend the full day there the following Thursday, and then Friday we're taking the train up to Seattle so that we can be there overnight and ready to go bright and early the next day for our cruise. So there will be lots of stitching. I talked to a friend who just got back from an Alaska cruise, and the thing that she was most disappointed with was that you don't have much time in each port. It's really just kind of the morning, maybe an hour or two in the afternoon. So it's a lot of time on the boat. And me, from having been on a few cruises in the past, I don't do well with the downtime on the boat. I don't do well with just sitting. And the fact the last cruise that I went on, I took stitching along, and was happy if I could find a piano bar or something I could hang out in and just stitch. So I'm excited to be able to stitch with some people while on the cruise. There's some of the entertainment that looks good. I like a good comedy show, and it looks like they have a couple Broadway shows. I think this is a pretty large ship, bigger than the ones I've been on in the past. So looking forward to the whole adventure, and I have lots of projects lined up, more than what I likely will get stitched on, especially since I would really like to buy something and kit it up and work on it while I'm at Acorns and Threads, so that I have that memory from there as a souvenir of the whole trip. So I will have tons to tell you about when I get back from that. I won't be filming an episode to tell you about that for a month. So I will have another episode 2 weeks from now, but it's one that I actually filmed last night. I dug out all of my fall and Halloween whips and patterns, so everything in my stash, and went through all of that, and it was partly so that I could figure out what I want to stitch for fall. So that will be my next episode, and then the one, I don't know, I think it's the Friday after Labor Day, that will be the one where I'll be able to tell you all about my exciting trip. But I've got lots to share with you today. I have 2 FFOs, and excuse me while I lean over here because I forgot about one of them. So the first one I had finished last time, but I got them FFO'd and I just made it fall apart. Okay, I'm not sure why my little, oh, I do know why. Okay, I'll have to fix this later. So I've got 2 ornaments, and these are from Bent Creek, the patterns. It's from one pattern, and I can't remember the name of it, something flurries, but here they are. They are filmed on a scrap of fabric that I had filmed. They're stitched. How about stitched? On a scrap of fabric that I had, and I'm pretty sure it's from Fabric Flare because the back is just plain white and the front of it is the blue with the little white random polka dots. But if I cannot cover things up here, I finished them into 2 ornaments, and on the back I had a different fabric pulled, but then I found this in my stash when I was sorting through some Christmas fabric. So got these fully finished. I'm really happy with them. They're not the called for flosses. I just grabbed from stash. I think they called for Classic Colorworks. They did have a DMC conversion, but I just pulled things out of stash. But really happy with those, although I just pulled the hanger off of this one. So I need to repair that. I knew when I assembled them that I forgot about how just now I forgot about how I assembled them, but I knew that that was risky, so I'll get that fixed. This next one, so excited about this. I was determined to get this finished this summer. I did just start it this summer. I started it on June 23rd, and I finished it on July 29th. And it is from this pattern, Madame Chantilly, on the beach. I made some very minor changes. It is all DMC except this one dark gray color in here. It's an over dye that it looks like is available in France. I don't think you might find it here, but it's not readily sold here. It is called Ethel, and the color is onyx. But I am using some Roxy Floss Co. Cousin It, which is a deep dark green, which has some different shades in it. I have it pulled out. I'm going to show it to you a little bit later, because one of the projects that I'm going to take with me on the trip, I have kitted up with the rest of that. I had a full hank of it, and I only used a couple little pieces of it for this. But this is FFO'd. I got it framed and everything. So a couple changes I made. Instead of this saying holidays, I did put the word Rehoboth in there. Rehoboth is a beach here in Delaware, a very popular one with a really nice boardwalk that I grew up going to and spent many weekend evenings there as a teenager. And then the other change, there were some flying seagulls up in here. I didn't stitch those in. The crabs were originally red, and I made them Maryland blue crabs. Crabs are blue until they're cooked, and then they turn red. And then there were some other shells down here, but I've got some buttons, these round ones, and these are actually brads. So they're typically sold for paper crafting. And I will hold this up closer so that you can see everything. I can't see anything now, so hopefully that's focusing in for you. It's completely covering my face and filling the screen, I'm hoping. But really, really happy with the way this one turned out. Unfortunately, summer's over. So I just have it on the bed here. I've been enjoying looking at it in my office here when I'm working in the day. It actually, you can see it when I'm working. I'm on that side over there, and I have it behind me over here. And so when I'm on camera for work this week, you can see it back there. But so happy with the way this turned out. This lighthouse is a beast. It's over 1,000 stitches just for that one lighthouse. But I plowed through and got this done. So very excited about that. I did not want to carry this into next year. When I pulled it out, I thought it looked like a quick stitch, but all of these houses are very solid. So there's a lot of stitches just in those to get them done. They were the most time consuming part. The rest of it went really quickly. And then Rehoboth, I had to take my time with that. I didn't sketch it out on paper. I was just designing as I stitched, but I think it came out well. I stuck with the style of the letters that were in the word holiday, and I had the H and the O. Those were the only two letters that I got to use that were in the original charting. But so that is my Madame Chantilly on the beach, and that is on 32 count Mani de Donna fabric, and it was just called Orange and Blue. And actually you can see on camera now some of the oranges. It doesn't look orange in person. I mean, you don't look at this fabric and think, ooh, orange fabric. It's very subtle, but it is definitely some orange and some blue, and I thought that looked beachy, so really happy with the way that came out. All right, this next one, I forgot to show this before. I started this a while back. In fact, it may have been back when I was out with my surgery. This is Silver Creek Samplers American Dream, and this is the pattern. And I'm not usually a big patriotic stitcher, but I saw this stitched up at Needlework Extravaganza back in March. She had a trunk show. She was there in one of the rooms set up, so you got to see all of her models, and she had all of her patterns. And I love this one stitched up, and it's not very big, like 7 by 9, maybe 7 by 10. It's fairly small. It is pretty solid stitching though on there. Like you can see the dress, I mean the little girl's very solid, the flag, and then you've got the land down below. But I love the fonts that she uses. Her typography is really different than any other designer. I can almost always spot hers just from that. But I got this started, and this is just on 32 count Zweigart cream, antique cream, I think. And I've got a chunk of the, and sorry, I don't have my usual ironing done because I've just got a lot going on to get packed and ready and everything to leave in a few days. But I've got this bottom section about finished. And I'll hold it up closer so you can see. I am using the called for. It does call for overdyes. I think Weeks Dye Works. Let me double check. Oh, I can't see it in there. I think it's Weeks Dye Works. It's definitely overdyes. And it tells you to have 2 skeins of this blue. I think there's a lot of that blue because there's the words at the bottom and at the top and in the flag. I'm pretty sure that's the one. I seem to remember this one calling for 2 skeins. So really happy with that. Just set that there. This next one I had started last time. I don't know what I was thinking with this. Bad influences. This is 1 dozen Quakers from Rosewood, Manor, and EJ from Sunshine Stitchers is doing a stitch along for this. I think it's called, they kept calling it a baker's dozen, and I think the stitch along is Bake Me a Dozen. I will double check the hashtag for the stitch along, but she has the pattern divided into 12 sections, so in thirds this way, and then in quarters this way. And it was running December through December, so it's 13 months, but this next December is just the catch-up month. So they're already 8 months into it, which is 2/3, which is like all of this upper part. And Candy's like, oh, you can catch up. I don't know how I'm going to catch up on this. I may, but I will be really getting into fall stitching soon. But I had not planned on taking this with me to Alaska, but I think I'm going to if I want to have any shot at catching up. But last time I had a little bit of this border in this upper corner done, and I had most of the outline of this big motif right here, but I did not, it wasn't even a full outline of it. And what I got done was that full motif. So, and actually the color of the fabric is coming through better than it did last time. So that's good. This is Lagoon Blue from Zweigart. It's 28 count. And the way I landed with this, EJ and Candy were with me at Stitch, New Jersey last month, and they were talking about this. They were stitching on this, and then when I went in the needlework with Jim shop that they had open there, they had 40% off all of their Rosewood Manor patterns, and they had this pattern. So then I was like, well, okay. And Candy's like, you can catch up. Not so sure how that's going to happen, but we'll see. So I thought, okay, it would be fun to stitch it and start it with them since EJ's the host for the stitch along, and I'll always have that memory in association with this piece then that I started it at Stitch, New Jersey with them. But of course I didn't have any fabric or floss with me, nothing that's called for sure. So I dug through what they had there at Jim's shop, and he had a limited amount of floss there. He was running to his storage facility multiple times a day. So if you needed some DMC or anything like that, if you just gave him the list, he brought it back for you. But I didn't know what colors I would want, so I just rooted through the silks that he had there. And he had a couple tealy green silks, and he had this blue lagoon fabric, which I loved, and I thought, you know what, I'll mix it up completely, and instead of doing the purple on white, which won't really go with anything in my house, although it's gorgeous, I'm gonna do mine in blues and greens, and I showed this last time, so sorry if I'm talking about it too much. I'll hold it up closer so you can see the stitching. So mine will all be tone on tone. I may mix some more blue tones in here in the silks. As I was going through my stash, I was kind of liking the idea of that. Maybe even if it's just the very center motif on here. So that's where I got. So I had about 3/4 of that outer border of the Quakers finished, and I finished that and I got the whole center done. So that was my next stitching for this time, and you'll be seeing that again next time, because like I said, I'll make an attempt at catching up. What I was supposed to be stitching on at Stitch New Jersey instead of that was The Beach is Calling from Erica Michaels. I started this last year. I thought I would finish it this year, and then for some reason in my head I was thinking that I didn't enjoy stitching on this. And I don't know why, because I pulled it out and I had a blast, but now I'm out of time for my summer stitching. So here's where I'm at. This is on 32 count chocolate milk from Fabrics by Stephanie, and which is the called for fabric. I think it's chocolate milk, or is it just chocolate? It's chocolate milk. You guys know I'm bad at kind of mixing up the names of things sometimes. It is chocolate milk. And I did learn last year, I suspected that this may have been originally designed as an exclusive for the needle workshop that is in Cape May, New Jersey, because it has the trolley on it and it actually says Cape May. So that is a New Jersey beach, which is only about an hour and a half from me. It's a really quaint beach town. It's at the southern tip of New Jersey, and it's a lot of old Victorian houses there. So it does not look like your typical beach town. But what I got done on this time, I got this beast of a sandcastle. Let me move this a little bit so I can see what I'm showing you. I got this beast of a sandcastle done, and I got this blue S-shaped thing here done, and the taffy, and that's all the further I got. The sandcastle is like 700 stitches. It's a ton of, I've got little threads all over it. It's a ton of stitches, but I'm disappointed that I didn't get more done on this summer. And I don't think now that it's likely to get pulled back out again. Maybe the first week after I'm back from my trip, I'll do another week of summer stitching, but we'll see. I won't pack it away in the closet just yet, because I would like to get a little bit more done on it. I'm probably, well, if I show you on the picture, I've got the sandcastle, I've got all of this done over here, and the words down here. So I'm probably about halfway done, except I've got another one of these beastly big lighthouses there. So we'll see what more I can get done on that this year. All right, this one I will finish this year. Last time I said I didn't think I was going to get very much done on this. I don't remember why. I just remember thinking I wasn't going to get as much done on this in this 2-week cycle, but it's my Jardin Prive ABC de la Brodeuse. And I'll hold the pattern up a little bit closer. This on this side, this is just the full piece, and then over here it's just slightly bigger, and it's cut in half so you can see it more clearly. And I am down to right here on the last page, so I only have this little bit left. And I've talked before about not being sure I'm going to do this whole bottom part. It's because I don't really like these two vases. That's what it is. But I really like this rose, so if I do the rose, I could move the snail up here, but then I got to come up with something to put over here. That may be what ends up happening. I just don't really like those two vases and flowers. It's just me. One of my weird things. So I'm stitching this as called for, except it calls for 2 pinks, 2 DMC pinks, a light and a dark, and I have swapped them out with red. The pinks were a little 1980s Dusty Rose for me. So last time I had this blue scallopy edge done, and I had the scissors done over here. I didn't have this face, and I didn't have anything down below. So, all right, is the light gonna show through? No, I think you can see okay. So this is where I got done on it, and what I had been doing was pretty much one width of this each 2 weeks. And I didn't think I would get that done, and I didn't quite, but it was a good stopping point. So that's how far I got. This banding is 28 count, and it is from a factory out of Germany, which is actually gone out of business because their, I don't know, 500-year-old looms were damaged in flooding and can't be repaired. This right here was a bit of a beast, but I love the lacy look. It is all backstitched, so I'll hold it up really close. You can see there is some X's in there, but the bulk of that is backstitched to give that lace effect. If I hold it back here, now you can definitely see that it looks lacy when it's not held as up close. But I am so excited that, you know, if I stick with doing this every 2 weeks, I won't get this stitched over the next 2 weeks. And it will probably take me 2 more cycles after that to get it finished. So within the next 6 weeks, this will be completely done. And it's huge. It's over 40 inches long. So it's a big piece. But I just love that. And I have resisted unrolling it to see what it looks like. So I may actually unroll it for the first time after I'm finished on camera. And you guys will get to see it with me for the first time in its entirety. All right, that was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was all of my stitching. That was all of my cross stitch. I did, last weekend, I went to a class to make these tote bags, and you can see I've got project bags in here. Let me take them out so I can show you the inside. But project pouches fit in here perfectly. So that is my plan for this. This may be a retreat bag, but it's this lovely bag. It does have pockets on the end, but it doesn't have any pockets inside. This is the inside, and if I hold it back here, it's nice shoulder straps. And what I love about it, because these handles have some structure, they're easy to grab with one hand. So if you have something going on in your other hand, you can reach down and pick up this tote with one hand. The pattern is called All the Things Tote, and I can't remember who the designer is, but I'm pretty sure if you Google All the Things Tote, it would come up. And the fabric I bought last year when I was in Toronto for Stitch North, and I had planned to get there a couple days early to do sightseeing, and then the first day that I had for my sightseeing, it rained all day. And so what else do you do? I did have my car because I drove, so I drove and went to Gita's, which is a cross stitch and needlework shop, and then I drove and went to a quilt shop. And the quilt shop was actually kind of fun because it was only about 20 minutes away, but it was like all of a sudden I was in the middle of the country, and I'm used to this Northeast where everything is urban, and it seemed really funny to me to go from Toronto City, and then within 20 minutes, really, I was in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, I bought this fabric when I was there. I don't know the name of the line, but it's from Poppy Cotton, which you can buy in the States, but it's not as common around me. And I've had the fabric and the lining fabric, it's from the same line, since then, and I wanted to do something sort of special with it. I didn't want to mix it in with a quilt, and so I decided to use it for my project bag, and I actually still have some left, so I'm going to make a smaller project pouch with what's left. All right, and now I have some stash to show. So I have this kitted up. Oh, and I don't have the cousin knit in here. Okay. I really thought I did. Maybe I don't. Well, the cousin knit, which is the dark green, which I used in the beach scene, and it's a very, very dark green, but it is variegated, so it gets slightly lighter in some spots or a little bit more blue. But I saw this pattern stitched up at Stitch, New Jersey. Someone had it on the brag table, and I fell in love with it. And it's from Lena Ova Crafts. No, Lena Ova Cross Stitch. And her site is creolandia.com. I thought I pulled it down off Etsy. I'll put a link below, but it is this Mary Poppins. And isn't that gorgeous? And I've really been wanting to do a long dog or one of the patterns that are really heavily stitched, single color like this, but I'm not a huge fan of some of the animals in the long dogs. And I just love this one. We've got a Modern London down below here with the eye and everything, and I can't remember the name of this building. It wasn't there when I lived over there. But I just love that. And this designer has several like these. There's Cinderella. There's a couple Alice in Wonderland. Oh, here, this pattern actually has some of them in it. We've got a Lord of the Rings, which I hadn't seen. Star Wars. The Little Prince. I did eye up the Little Prince one because I love that book. But here's some of the other ones. We got Harry Potter in the upper corner, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. There's some Alice in Wonderland and the Little Prince. So I had fun browsing her site, but I settled on Mary Poppins. I am going to do it on Hardanger, which is 22 count, and it will come out about 13 and a half by 13 and a half, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's not huge. Now 22 count, you know, that's pretty tiny of a stitch. It would be like doing it 2/2 on somewhere between 40 and 46 count is what size the stitch would be. Of course, I'll do it 1/1 on the Hardanger. But it's, well, here they say 20.79. I think if you do it on 14 count, it's about, yeah, if you do it on 14 count, it's just under 21 by 21. I'm doing it on 22 count, so it's going to be about 14 by 14. But I'm doing it on plain white and using the Cousin It floss. And I'll have that to show you next time so you can see the floss. This next one, I have eyed this up at my local shop at Hodgepodge. She has one of these stitched up. Actually, she has two because she has it in 2 different colorways, and it is absolutely stunning in person. And the pattern is called Redwork Snowflake Wreath, and it is from Imaginating, which I didn't realize, so I got this pattern is out of date in Ohio. But it is gorgeous. And I think instead of, although you know I love my red, instead of doing it in red, I'm going to do it in some icy blues. It's really just a single color. So all of the snowflakes are a single color. And the only variations you have are in the bow, just to give it the shading and depth and dimension. So I really am thinking of doing it all in blues. And I even eyed up this DMC, which is 4020. It's one of their variegated flosses. And I'm not sure the variegation's going to show up. Let me put it against the white. Yeah, it's not really going to show up. Let me put it against something white without all the red there. you can kind of see it maybe in this end, the variegation. But it's just some pale blues, kind of a mint green in there, and I wasn't so sure about the green. And maybe doing it on like a white opalescent fabric, so I just want to make it very frosty and wintry, and that's what I'm thinking for this. But it is so pretty, and then I'll have to do something custom for the bow. She does have it, so she has a blue alternative and a green alternative. And on 14 count, it's 11 by 11. On 18 count, it's 8 by 8. So in Hodgepodge, I know at least one of them is finished as a pillow, and that's what I might do for that. We'll see. I may actually do it as a flat piece to hang on my front door in between the storm door and the door, because there's not enough room to really put a wreath. And this would be really pretty hanging there all winter. So I did pick that up, and I will start this winter when probably not till after Christmas, because once I get done my Halloween and fall stitching, I don't have a whole lot of time for Christmas. And then I really like stitching winter through February, maybe even into March, depending on our weather. So I'll probably save this for a January, February stitch. And I'm thinking either doing it on white opalescent, or the other option was doing it on something dark, a dark fabric, and having the icy blue. Maybe even doing the snowflakes like an icy blue, and using the blending filament that I was using on the wings on my Mirabilia, on my Nora Corbett Mirabilia. That winter, that Christmas elf fairy has a blending filament with floss in the wings, and that could be really pretty with this on a dark fabric instead of doing it on a white opalescent. Decisions. I'm not doing it twice. Let me see. I have a few patterns here. I don't know when I got these or where I got them. Actually, that's a lie. This came from Hodgepodge. It's October House Fiber Arts Americana Blue, and it looks like that. And the size on it is 247 by 246. So on 36 count, it finishes at like 14 by 14. So this is a fairly big piece. And I don't know if I'll do it in blue or if I'll do it in red and white for my red and white wall that I'm doing pieces for. This one is Jardin Prive, Quaker de Noel, and it is a red and white piece. She usually uses DMC, but this is definitely variegated. I don't know what floss it's using. Oh, she used a variegated DMC, 115. So on 36 count, this is only 8 by 8. On 14 count, it's just under 11 by 11. So this is not very big. And it's a single color Christmas piece. Just the red on the white. I like that piece. I like stitching Quakers. And actually, now that I've been stitching on that 12 Quakers, I was like, oh, I really like stitching Quakers. Let me rephrase that. I really, really like stitching single color Quakers. The experience of stitching the autumn Quakers and winter Quakers from Rosewood Manor is very different. It's fun. It's not the same as doing a single color Quaker. And this, of course, would be single color since the whole thing's single color. This one has a price sticker on it. I was going to say I got this one with some floss that I needed, but I didn't because it has a price sticker on it. This is Robin Pickens Seasonal Courier Robin Spring, and that's what it looks like. Robin Pickens designs for Moda fabric, and I have some of her fabric in my stash, and I've made some things out of her fabrics. She has colors and sort of a more modern aesthetic than some of the designers without being ultra modern. But I really like just the graphic look of that. This is Stitches by Ethel. Sure is fun. And I'll be stitching this without the crow. I just want the little mouse under the umbrella and the little beachy things. And then I know this came from online. 123 Stitch, I think, had all of their beaded or Mill Hill kits on sale. And I got Jim Shore Gift Giving Snowman. And I love the Mill Hill kits for travel because all I need to grab is a pair of scissors and everything else is there. I don't need a hoop. It's got the needle in there. It's got all the floss. I usually will grab a piece of cardboard and cut some slits in it to use to sort my floss in. That is one thing I've learned with these, is that it is sometimes helpful to sort the floss before the trip, because it could have 6 reds in there and they're really hard to tell apart, and they're one strand or one length each. So even if the chart tells you how many lengths are in there, because sometimes it does tell you, you know, there's 3 of bright green and 2 of spring green, and then you can figure out which is bright green and which is spring green. So I like to sort them when I'm at home and have my DMC color card with me and can know what the colors are and get them kind of carded and then stuck back in here. This one is another Jim Shore, and it's perfect like purr, like a cat does, Christmas Santa, and he is holding a little orange cat. And lots of beading on him there. You can you can even, it's showing up on camera even all along the bottom. All right. These next couple things are not stash. When I was at Stitch, New Jersey, Candy was talking about Athena, whose site is stitchinggoddessdesigns.com. I'm going to hold up the QR code for her. And Athena makes stitching themed t-shirts and sweatshirts and gear. And my package arrived. I just ordered it, I think, when we were there. And it came packed really cute. It had some little stickers in it, including the little orange cat. I love the little cat. Had some stickers in there. And what I bought, and it looks like what she does is she creates a design, or creates a couple designs, and those are available for a month, and then they are gone, and she does a new design. So these designs are gone now because these were July, and I was just on her site, and she doesn't have August out yet. It says it's coming soon. But I got this t-shirt, and yep, it's purple. I know you're shocked, right? Because I'm not really a fan of purple, but I do wear purple occasionally. It's just not in my house anywhere, so I don't typically stitch purple. But yeah, I stitch past my bedtime. I'm gonna take that with me, I think, to wear when we go to Acorns and Threads. And then this one, I bought a sweatshirt. EJ had one with this design on it. She had a t-shirt, but I wanted the sweatshirt, and this is my color. But I love just the, like, high school sports team kind of is what that font reminds me of. And it just says simply says Stitch, and this is a hoodie. But quality is very nice. You pick out the pattern, and then you pick out which, just 2 different brands of t-shirts. And Candy recommended the Bella Canvas. They have ladies cut, which I like. My figure's round and curvy, so I don't fit unisex. I'm too hippie, so unisex t-shirts are too long and they won't go over my hips. So she's got ladies cuts. So you pick out the color, the size you want, and the pattern. You get to pick everything, which is nice. So I picked out the t-shirt, and the sweatshirt's going with me for Alaska because I hear that I'm going to be cold. And then this last thing is fabric. There is a new line from Urban Chicks, and I love their retro lines. And this year the line is called, the last couple years they had Halloween lines. They didn't have Christmas, and this year they're back to having a Christmas line. This is called Kitty Christmas, and how stinking cute is that? So I love the retro lines. I think I have something from every line that they've had, and it's probably been about 5 years now that they've been doing that, because they had 3 years of Christmas retro prints, and then they had 2 years of Halloween, and now they're back to doing a Christmas one. So it has a panel, which I also got. So here's the picture of what the panel looks like. And I may just pick up a couple charm packs and do something simple with the charm packs and the panel. I did that for the Halloween one though, which was also a cat. So I'm gonna have to come up with something different to do with this panel than that. But maybe charm packs, but just a different design. So that is everything that I have for today. I'm just doing a quick double check. Yes, it is. That's everything that I have for today. And 2 weeks from now, I'll release my digging through my fall Halloween stuff, trying to figure out what I'm going to stitch in second half of September and October and November. And then 2 weeks after that, I will be back to share all the details of my trip. So I hope everybody else is having a good end of summer. I know some kids have already started back to school, which I couldn't believe. I've got coworkers whose kids started back to school 2 weeks ago. I never started back to school till the day after Labor Day. And my nieces grew up in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania still starts the day after Labor Day. But I can't imagine starting in July. I mean, that's when those kids started back. It was 2 weeks ago. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying the rest of your summer and staying in, getting some good stitching done while it's too hot to do anything else. And I will talk to you all again very soon. Thanks for visiting me. I really appreciate it. Bye.